Yeah, started watching binge watch of Star Trek Discovery, The War Without, the War Within. Yeah, that's a penultimate episode before the season finale. So it's sort of the first part of the season finale. They meet up with the admiral lady who has been rescued from the prison ship, and Sarek and Tyler. They go back to the Tyler arc and try to wrap that up. They have B story concerning that, and closure with Tyler meeting I guess with Tilly, and then later meeting with Burnham to apologize, basically. Although he's technically a murderer, so even though he was like crazy and a sleeper agent, he's still a murderer, so he still should actually technically be in the break. But he said it's a space war, and even Starbase 1 gets taken, so the Klingons. But the Klingon houses are all fractioned, though. So it's a bit like the Cillians in some of my Cillian stories. I don't think they read the synopsis of Perfect Plan and some of the other ones. I don't think they did. I think there's just a coincidence. I think what they're probably getting this from is actually new BSG, more or less, and possibly a little Star Wars, a lot of new BSG. In this one, the political lady representing Hillary clearly is the admiral in this universe. But the evil Giorgio Empress is there, also resembling a version of her, which is interesting. But yeah, then she's sort of the other character. So there's not really an archetype for whether it's Hillary or Trump. It's just that it's politics, but done in space with a space war and border crossings. I mentioned that several times. And terrorists and stuff like that. It's basically what New BSG was doing 10 years, 15 years ago. 10 to 15 years ago. So yeah, under other administration. So yeah, you have a sort of political archetype thing going on with a military group that wants to stop a war. So their plan is to get the mycelial network back from a moon that they find, and they regenerate it, and then fly the ship into Kronos and do like the Praxis thing, but they actually want to cause it. The Praxis thing. And now in the Star Trek Abrams movies, Praxis had already exploded earlier, so this is probably what they're going to do like earlier to match up with the Abrams universe, which was altered by the Narada. I think maybe Kurtzman did see some silly Trek synopsises that kind of go in that direction, but I suspect he was just borrowing it from other sci-fi, and it's not really, because the politics stuff is thrown in there too, from the Bush era and from the Obama era and from the current era, Trump. So there's a little bit of that in there. They don't say it specifically, but clearly they're referencing it. Which is how you do that. At least they're doing that right. They're not literally saying that, oh, this happened, in the 21st century with this one guy with orange hair. They're not saying that. That would be silly. They're saying stuff more like, they have to stop the Klingon War that took over. Be like in Starship Locations, the silly track thing, the board, if they took over. It'd be like that. That universe gets taken over by the board while we were away, or the overlords in the other universe. But yeah, or the mirror people. But yeah, that's a different universe. I don't think they're actually copying it. I think they're just copying the idea. And the optimistic Tilly Kelly, yes, Silly Kelly is in there, and so she's the optimist on the ship. She's Optimus Prime. Yeah, so, yeah, there's a political allegory going on. It's the man versus the enemy kind of thing, the other kind of story arc. It's basically Axanar at this point. They call it the Battle of the Binary Stars, but it's Axanar. And that's why they sued Axanar because Axanar also made money and off the brand and all that. But now they've got to deal with Axanar so they can air their fan film if they just don't technically call it Star Trek, but they still can under the table. Yeah, and we can still call the Starcracker's alien planet the Red Angel system because that's actually like that term is not something Star Trek owns at all, so we can call it that. Also, we get to do our fan film because they did that. So that'll be next year. So yeah, I'm gonna. This episode has a lot of stuff going on. I'm inferring politics is in it. It isn't really. It's okay. It's mainly filling the redemption and stuff like that. But I don't think that Tyler Vox can be redeemed, unlike, say, Locarno from the Cillian story. He's just too messed up. I like that she basically walks away at the end because she kind of has to. Because he cray cray. You don't want to hang with that guy that cray cray. Shit. I'm saying. Besides, she used to be that chick on chick. She's girl. She used to be that girl on what was it? It's Celia Martin Green from Walking Dead. Let's see who that is. No. Anyway, so the Admiral is someone else though. The Admiral's been on. I think she's a comedian. It's funny. She's playing a straight character. Yeah, so I've seen her around some places. Anyway, so yeah, next